Good morning, everyone, and warm welcome to Ask the Expert. Ask the Expert is a award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses just like you. If you have any questions, then ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts just like myself are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do engage with it, and I'll reveal the results at the end. Okay, so who am I? Well, my name is Aaron Patrick, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. I'm a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with a fancy new logo, so don't be afraid to ask me any QuickBooks Online related questions. I also own a state-of-the-art accounting firm called Boffix, which is the best in cloud technology available to help small businesses get the crucial real-time information they need at their fingertips. If you require accounting advice, payroll, bookkeeping services, and now even QuickBooks Online training, then please do get in touch. We don't want small businesses just to survive, but thrive. I also have a dedicated QuickBooks YouTube channel called Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chap. So if you need any more QuickBooks news and advice, then why not go over and give the channel a follow? Okay, enough about me, and let's focus on today's session. As always, this session is all about you and your burning questions. If you have a question, then please use any of the social channels to get in touch. So while we wait the first of the questions to arrive, let's do a quick PSA, public service announcement, and that's all about QuickBooks Get Connected. So online on Tuesday, 19th of October, which is only next Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for product updates, educational workshop, and engaging speakers, all designed to help you and your clients thrive. And even though it's virtual, what I wanted to talk about is actually how well the virtual format really works. I was really pleasantly surprised in March, which was the last big event. The new product announcements, when they were announced, gave me an opportunity to quickly go and have a look at them, actually bring up QuickBooks itself, have a look and feel of what those announcements were all about. So you're able to instantly be able to interact with them as well. And also, it meant that any follow-on points that you may have had from the wonderful speakers that were there last year, you're able to implement them much quicker and much sooner and talk to your team about them straight away. So I found the virtual environment not as engaging or as wonderful as it was meeting everyone and speaking to everyone a couple of years back pre-pandemic, but it did work really, really, really well. So I do highly recommend as many of you as possible to get yourself over to the event. I certainly learned a lot last time round. Some of the product announcements were absolutely stellar, and I'm looking forward to much of the same on Tuesday, well, a week on Tuesday. Also, we're doing a follow-on over on the podcast, QuickBooks Labs. So if you want to kind of go through and look at or talk about a little bit more detail what those product announcements mean and how that kind of affect you and your business, then please do come over to QuickBooks Labs. You'll find all the links on my YouTube channel about where that is, and then we'll be able to talk about what that means for you and your business. Okay, so my next topic is still related to QuickBooks Online, but it's all about the mobile app update that's just been released. You see, the mobile app itself is one of the crucial elements to QuickBooks Online. I have a handful of clients who have never, ever, ever logged into QuickBooks Online any other way than on their mobile phone. They get their mobile phone out, and that is their whole business being run from that one device. So every time there's an update to that mobile device and mobile app, then that's always an advantage for those businesses to take advantage of. See, it's becoming more and more important, like I say, and there's plenty of people I know that only use it, as I said before. And as it's getting amazing, it's getting even better. So last year, we had some great updates to it. We had the mileage automation. So the idea then that just by using GPS on your mobile phone, you're able to automatically record mileage when you go from one place to another. And if you're really savvy about it, you can even put automatic rules in place so that if you're going to the same place time and time and time again, you can get QuickBooks Online to automatically record that mileage. You don't have to take the phone out to say start trip or anything like that. It'll automatically see that you're moving from A to B and then record that as mileage for you. Really, really handy piece of advice and handy feature, that one, that was released only a couple of years ago. Also last year, there was that cash flow forecast as well. And that gave us a chance that in your pocket, you can get your phone out and you can see how much cash not only you have now, but predicted to have in the future. And that became a real game changer, especially during furlough and during the pandemic and during some really difficult times, knowing what your cash flow forecast looks like it's going to be going forward was really powerful. And it was something that we know a lot of clients got a lot of use out of. And then finally, one of the big features that came in the last couple of years was the Snap Receipt functionality. And the idea there is if you've got a receipt in front of you, instead of actually having to take that receipt and starting to type it all into your phone, you actually get the opportunity to use your camera on your phone, take a photo of it, so then you've always got a copy of that particular transaction, but also QuickBooks cleverly extracts the data from there as well. Now, the beauty of that is think about how much time you save. Think about how easy it is then to be able to make sure that you've got everything in place. And it really does work really, really well. So what I would highly recommend if you're not using it is to start utilizing that Snap Receipt functionality. So go around snapping photos of your receipts and then let them be extracted into QuickBooks Online. Now, the update that was released only yesterday, or last week, should I say, was the fact that not only can you still snap receipts, but now you can manage those receipts directly in the mobile app. You see, prior to this, you had to log into your online QuickBooks Online, go to the receipt section, and that's where you were able to actually extract the information fully, be able to match it against transactions that are there, integrate wonderfully with your bank account. Well, now you can do all of those wonderful things directly in the mobile phone itself and be able to put it directly in there. So it is going to be a great little opportunity there. It's a really small update, but it's actually a significant update. It's one of those updates that, as small as it sounds, is going to affect massively a large number of clients. It means that they are going to be able to get the full use out of that receipt capture software. So yeah, we're really, really excited about it. In fact, I did a whole video based on that functionality, going through exactly how that works, what it looks like, how it works, and that'll be released on Tuesday, so tomorrow. So do keep an eye out for that one. So the receipt capture is getting better and better, and it's all the good for it. Finally, my final topic for today is the fact that we are talking about the fact that on the 27th of October is the autumn budget. So the autumn budget is really, really going to be interesting for you and your business. Now, the budget itself can confuse a lot of people. So if you are confused by the budgets itself, then we are planning to do a watch along with fellow Ask the Expert guests, actually, including Rachel from accountancy. So do keep on an eye out for that if the budget itself is confusing to you. But do make sure you keep up to date with the announcement they're made, because the budget itself can make or break a business if you're not careful. The last budget introduced the Kickstart scheme, if you remember. So if you think about it, that was a big element that came from there. There was also those new corporation tax rates that really does affect your forward business planning. And it was one of those elements where as soon as that budget was announced, we had to kind of go into overdrive, if you like, in terms of trying to figure out how that's going to affect our clients. So if the same sort of thing happens this time around, you want to be prepared. And the extra incentives to the apprenticeship scheme was a real welcome addition. And it was also something that I know a lot of businesses out there took advantage of, because it just gave you that extra incentive to bring on that extra apprentice and bring them into play. They were my personal favorites from the last big announcement. So what do we expect to happen in this one? Well, first of all, I think, to be fair, on this particular budget, unless we're kind of unsighted by big changes, I think we already know most of the significant announcements. So this year, most of them that already take place is going to be about the fact that there's going to be that 1.25% increase in the national insurance from April 2022. We know about that, but it'd be nice to understand a little bit more about how that's going to be implemented. We know the money is going to be put towards the NHS and social care crisis. So, as bad, no one likes a increase in taxes, but at least we know that this one's a ring fence for stuff that we know is crucially important to our country. The government has also confirmed that state pensions triple lock is suspended for another year. So that's a positive. And we know that furlough has come to an end. And one of the big things that was announced only last week or week before is the fact that MTD, so Making Tax Digital, has been delayed for a year. I might be personally the only one upset about that. But it is something that, now that it's been announced, and now that we've actually had this proof that it's been delayed, we want to understand a little bit more what that means. So are we going to be utilising that time, or is the government going to be utilising that time to be able to make some significant changes to the scheme itself? And hopefully, fingers crossed, the bit that I'm really tinfoil hat and hope this happens is there is a possibility that we're going to drop the current 5th of April year end. So either it'll be a 31st of March or maybe even a 31st of December if they want to be really radical about it. But I think the idea of changing the tax year from the 5th of April to the 31st of March could be quite a significant change. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that's what comes to play. We know a lot of people get confused about the 5th of April. We know software itself struggles to be able to adapt to the 5th of April. So actually bringing that forward to a more coterminous to a month end, I think it's going to be something that will be really, really useful. And that's certainly a change that I would welcome to see. Other rumours that are floating around as well, and this one could be quite significant to you, is the reduction of the capital gains allowance as well. There's a rumour that it's going to drop from that £12,500 a year all the way down to maybe £2,000, £3,000, £4,000. And if that is the case, and you've been utilising the spare time and utilising the big hype at the moment for stock, shares and Bitcoin, then that could be really significant to your future plans on that one. So again, if the budget does bring that into play, that could make some significant changes to the way that you plan your taxes going forward. So do keep an eye out for those announcements. And if you want to, follow us on our social channels for more information, or more importantly, stay tuned here to QuickBooks Ask the Expert, and I'm sure we'll go through the budget with you in more detail as and when it goes live. So that is kind of my 3 areas I wanted to talk about today, making sure that we were ready for that QuickBooks event, QuickBooks Connect, making sure that we knew about that mobile phone update, and getting ourselves prepared for the budget. I think there's some real key takeaways from this morning. But that's not the end of the show. The show is only going to get better from here on out, because now it's all about you and your burning questions. So remember, if you do have any questions, to make sure you put them into the live part of the show, and I'll do my very best to answer them all as we go along. So let's get to our first question of the day. And remember, those burning questions, get them in the comment section of the video. So the first question that came through was Helena on Twitter DM, and she asks, what advice do you have for applying for a business credit card? Are there any you would recommend? Great question there. Now, the reason that this becomes such a pertinent issue, and especially, I mean, she hasn't said here, but I assume possibly a limited company, but either way, if you're looking to apply for a business form of credit, it doesn't have to be a credit card, it could be any form of credit whatsoever, loan application, overdraft application, them sort of things, then especially if you're a limited company, remember that that limited company status is a standalone, a separate legal entity, which means that you may have the best credit score that you've ever had, and you may be absolutely wonderful with your credit workings and everything else. But if you've got a brand new business, and that credit score starts at 0, so no matter what you're kind of doing or what you're having to do, you're going to have to think about how that works, how that implements, and be able to kind of do the same that you've been doing personally in terms of building that credit score up time and time again. You know, little things like getting yourself a mobile contract in the business name, you know, being able to apply for those credit scores on there, doing a look at your actual credit score online using the popular sites that you know all about looking at your credit scores, but looking at the business, not yourself, can be really, really useful. When it comes to a business credit card, though, what I tend to suggest is just the same as kind of in personal terms. If you're getting rejected, then be really careful about keeping applying and getting rejected. That can have a real damaging effect on your credit score. So if you have been rejected once, then don't just keep throwing that application again and again and again. That's only going to give you or take you longer to be able to build that credit score back up again. One thing I do highly recommend, though, and it depends on your personal money situation and your cash flow point of view, but you will find that getting yourself a debit card or multiple debit cards or multiple cash accounts is going to be the first way of getting you onto that ladder. See, what I tend to do, or what we tend to recommend, is going, especially with the new challenger banks, so Revolut, Starling, Tide, those sort of banks. If you get yourself involved in them, you'll find lots of incentives in there and lots of ways you can build up your credit score and build up that credit know-how of how your business is going. And not all of them offer credit cards as such, but they'll be able to offer you opportunities to have credit options in there. And when you're starting to build that credit score up, that gives you a chance to go elsewhere, to be able to go and build up from the ground up. So most of the time, Helena, I would have expected you at this point in time being a new business, but is my assumption of you. Being a limited company is my assumption of you. So we just have to play that credit score game and be able to move it up from there. Another possibly opportunity for you is to think about getting personal guarantees and everything else that goes with it. But you tend not to find most lenders are more, happier with that smaller credit card opportunity. But if you're looking for bigger lending opportunities, like loans and stuff, then personal guarantees is a way of getting around it as well, because it's not just them assessing the business of the credit score, but they're looking at you as well. So maybe you might be better, as crazy it sounds, looking at more longer term borrowing options that you can guarantee, because you can get the opportunity to get a personal guarantee on them, and actually be able to get them through the door. That will then increase your credit score, giving you an opportunity maybe to be able to get that business credit card there. But good luck with it. There's ways in which we can go through there and go through and get that opportunity for you. So fingers crossed that will go through well for you. Oh, Christopher on Instagram DM. Absolutely brilliant question here, and it's because it's Apple related, so I'm definitely a fan of this one. Christopher on Instagram DM says, I've seen that Apple have recently updated their privacy policy. Is this something small owners should be aware of? Could it impact me? And yeah, definitely. So one of the big updates that they brought through is the fact that they're trying as much as possible to help prevent spam emails or emails that are going to be illegitimate, and basically making sure that your data is safe as a consumer. Obviously, like lots of businesses out there, they're very concerned about data privacy and making sure your data is private. So what this means is a lot of kind of those solutions that we as business owners really rely on. So being able to look at those analytics and be able to send stuff out conveniently using maybe something like MailChimp or HubSpot or one of those kind of bigger solutions means that a lot of their functionality has been taken away if they are directing their elements to an iOS user. And because iOS is so dominant at the moment, that's going to be a large proportion, probably more than 50% of your user base. You're going to find that some features aren't going to be working as before. A lot of these are all about things like tracking of emails. So the idea that you might want to send out a newsletter and you want to be able to track who clicks where and everything else. Well, if they go to an Apple device on iOS 15, some of that functionality may have been gone. So yes, it's going to affect small business quite substantially in that case. It is more designed to kind of aim at the bigger organizations. It's designed to really hit them in terms of making sure that their privacy or their clients' and customers' privacy is being maintained, so they're not abusing it. But it doesn't mean from a small business point of view, we're going to lose that analytics that we had before. Now, the only way we can kind of get around that is going back to more traditional methods and trying to, instead of utilizing that technology that we have been relying on, is trying to think about doing other ways in which to get that important information. So think of surveys, think of doing like calls of clients, think of doing those kind of more traditional methods to see what's working and what's not. We've just got to be aware that going forward, there's going to be a large proportion of your client base that we're not going to be able to extract that information from. And, that's just something we've got to be aware of it. I'm sure that within time, these technology brands, these MailChimps and the other would be able to find solutions around it. But for now, we've just got to be aware that those situations are going to be limited in terms of what information we're going to get out of it. And again, we just need to be aware of that going forward. So yeah, great question there, Christopher. Anyone got questions on Apple, I'm more than happy to answer going forward. Hasid on Facebook Messenger asks the following question. I'm having a bit of an issue with unapplied cash being added to sales. I create an invoice, they pay, and I tag as paid, then transfer the money. When the deposit comes up in the list, it's an extra payment that hasn't been matched. How do I match the bank deposit after the invoice is closed? Fantastic question here, and one of those questions that really does cause some issues on QuickBooks Online. Now, first of all, let's just make sure we're all understanding the situation here or the problems that this person is facing. Basically, if you've ever used QuickBooks Online or any accounting software for that matter, then one of the most important aspects is making sure that your trade debtors, so the amount of money that you owed, is always correct. If you're a small business, one of the most important things is you need to make sure that you know how much money is owed at any point, and you've got appropriate controls in place to be able to chase anyone who's not paying you on time and causing you issues in terms of cash flow and everything else. So making sure that your software is recording the actual debtors correctly is crucial for you being able to know that information. If you don't know how much you're owed, how are you supposed to go out there, chase the money correctly? How are you supposed to be able to use automation within QuickBooks Online to allow that money to be collected properly if you don't, or if you're not if you're not actually confident in the information that's there? And that's exactly what's happening here. In this situation here, our biggest problem is the fact that the person here is saying that they aren't being able to create or have confidence in what's going on with their trade debtors. So their actual issue here is about unapplied cash. So the idea that you may not just get that payment in one go, you might get multiple different payments, or you might have a customer who's paying in lump sums. So maybe they go on a payment plan with yourself. There's various situations where people don't just pay the direct invoice off each and every time. So there's two things that I want you to be aware of on this one. The first one is about the automation settings that you might have in QuickBooks Online. So if you go to your settings cog in the top right-hand corner, you go to accounts and settings and you go to sales. I'm telling you wrong. Go to accounts, settings cog, accounts and settings, and then go to advanced. Under there is the automation. So company cog, accounts and settings, advanced, and there's a section in there called automation. In there, just make sure that you have unticked in this particular situation about automatically applying your payments, because that could be what's happening here. The feature with automatically applying payments is an absolute lifesaver for a lot of clients, a lot of people who use QuickBooks Online. But in some circumstances, and this one included, then actually having that additional step where QuickBooks is automatically applying your payments on your behalf can sometimes cause you errors. You need to be really acute on if that's the right setting to have for you and your business. The other thing to be aware of is about how to post your your payments on account onto QuickBooks Online. And the way you do this is when that money comes into QuickBooks Online, then what you want to do then is you want to go and you want to put in the application of add the transaction, and you're going to add it to trade debtors. And if you're VAT registered, you're going to put it to no VAT as well. And then the final step you need to do there is you need to say what that customer is. When you've put that information in, so you've said what the customer is, you put it to trade debtors and you put no VAT if you're VAT registered, and you press the add button, then basically that transaction gets added to your bank account, which is good, helps you reconcile your bank. And more importantly, it goes to your trade debtors. And if you go to that customer, you're going to have the unapplied payment just there. And to clear that, all you need to do then is find an invoice that's outstanding. You'll see the button next to it says receive payment. Click on that receive payment, and then you'll be able to match the two transactions together. It's a bit of a convoluted way, but once you've done it a couple of times, I promise you'll be really comfortable with doing that. If you need any questions on it, there's a whole video over on my channel. Just go and give that a follow if needed. But hopefully, fingers crossed, you're going to be fine with that one going forward. Joan on Twitter DM asks the following: does your company need to be set up before you seek investment, or can I acquire investment then set up? Great question, Joan. And to be fair, both are exactly this, or both, you can do both situations, no problem whatsoever. You see, most times people will actually start up their business, make sure their business is actually a proof of concept, and make sure that it's working as correctly as it can be, make sure that it's working, and make sure that people are going to actually want to buy the product or buy the service in the first place. And then they go out there and they scale up and they reach that investment later on. That is a perfectly legitimate way of doing business. And there's loads of schemes available from HMRC to make it really tax effective as well. EIS schemes, things like that, and seed schemes and everything else that goes with it. But there isn't anything wrong with you also, before you even set your business up, if you've got that wonderful proof of concept that you know is absolutely going to smash it, then there is nothing wrong with you being able to go and acquire the investment first, do it in the most tax efficient manner again, and then be able to start the ground absolutely running. Both ways are ways to success, and you just got to be careful about each one's of their pitfalls. But that's a whole topic for a whole nother day of which ones are going to go through. We could talk for half an hour of time on that particular situation. But yeah, basically, Joan, if you've got an idea out there, doesn't matter which way you go out there, there's going to be ways in which your idea can flourish and become a great business going forward. Alex on YouTube asks, my own credit score is very good. How can I build my business credit score in order to look at card loans in the future, or can I link the two? It's a great question there from Alex. So very, very, very similar to that first question we had from Helena, was it? Yeah, Helena that was at the top there. It's going to be the same sort of answer. So remember, your business is a separate legal entity. So that needs to be able to build those credit scores up on a completely separate to your own. So you remember your business, your legal entity could be jettisoned from that at some point in time, and someone else could be taking over it. So it hasn't got to, or it doesn't automatically relate directly to you just because it's your business. That being said, you can help, you can build it up. As I said before, there's ways in which you can help build that information together. You can build on the credit score itself. There's ways in which, like I said, you can go out there, get yourself some other loans and use personal guarantees and things like that to be able to secure more long-term, more substantial cash flow injections. And sometimes they're easier to apply for and to get because of that personal guarantee option that's there. So there is options going through. And then on the smaller ways of being able to do it, things like getting yourself a mobile phone contract in the business name, getting that credit score each and every month going through can be a huge bonus for you. Maybe look at getting business internet instead of personal internet. Again, that's going to build up your business credit score and be able to help you kind of build that up as well. By the sounds of it, you've already got yourself you've said here, Alex, you've already got yourself a good credit score in yourself. You know what to look for. You know how important it is to be able to do kind of play the game, if you like, as a lot of us kind of talk about making sure that we're doing things right in terms of making sure we're doing a positive impact to our credit score. You've just got to apply that same logic to your business. And you'll find that will also build it up as well. You tend to find, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but you tend to find that your business credit score builds up a lot quicker than a personal one, with the idea that, the lenders are out there to make money, and they can have more confidence in a company, especially a limited company, when they can see online that you've got good set of accounts in there. They've been signed off by an accountant who's got a good going concern note in there for you, so they've got confidence your business is going to be okay. And they also have that advantage as well of being able to, if needed, to reach out and look at that document and see those information on public records. And you'll find that those do actually help build up that business credit rating much sooner going forward. So hopefully that answers your question, Alex. Brilliant, and thank you for putting your time within QuickBooks, within Ask the Expert. With that, I think that's the end of today's session. Absolutely flown by as always, but we did ask you at the beginning of the session to look out for that poll, and the poll results are in. So in the poll, we asked you, have you registered for QuickBooks Get Connected? I hope everyone on here has said yes to this one, but the results are in, and the results are a staggering 30% of you have said yes, while the remainder of you said no. And I do urge you, all of you who are not registered yet for Get Connected, get yourself registered for next Tuesday. Get yourself into the event itself. Yes, I know it's virtual. I know it's not as glamorous or as probably impactful as it can be when you're doing it in person, but I promise you it's definitely a worthwhile endeavor. You'll learn a lot. Just the features alone that hopefully are going to be announced. I kind of fingers crossed here that we get some great announcements for QuickBooks Online, mainly for my content, so I can put some stuff out on the YouTube channel. But I do hope that there is going to be some great content out there, or great product announcements, so that we can utilize QuickBooks to its full, and get the opportunity that we can make sure that people are using QuickBooks Online with some of the great features. So I'm really, really excited about it. If you think back to previous announcements that have been made, cash flow forecast being the one that really stands out, and items like that, the potential for what could be announced and what we could get is huge. So I'm really looking forward to that going forward. And then all the speakers that are there as well makes it really worthwhile. And you do get to interact with people as well. So I know it's virtually, but if it's like last time, then there's kind of breakout sessions to talk to people and get involved with. So Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. If you want to get in contact with me, and you can send me a message to hello@boffix.com. If you've got any further questions on anything we talked about today. Coming up on Expert tomorrow is a multi-brand franchisor and special advisor, Sean Goldsmith. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Tune in to get advice on strategic planning, building a franchise, should I say, and going global. And if it's anything like some of the other Ask the Expert sessions he's hosted before, it's really, really insightful look into the world of franchise. So I do highly recommend it. Even if you're not in a franchise at the moment, I did find some great little elements there that really did bring that I was able to apply to my business and also to advise on clients as well. So definitely get involved tomorrow. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountant and business experts are on hand 24/7, just like myself. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning. Have a great day, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.